Hey y'all, Stand-Up Gamer here with another vlog, and today I'm gonna 3D print a mod I should have done a long time ago for my Qidi Tech X Max 3. If you've been watching my vlogs, you've probably seen me use the spool holder a few times now. And you might be wondering, why does he do that? It's because the stock system doesn't really work for my needs. For example, this is the stock spool holder. For general use, it's not that bad, and what's cool is that it has space for silica gel. So for filaments like PLA or PETG, this works just okay. But when you start using filaments with carbon fiber or glass fiber, that's when things get a little dicey. I have a 2.5 foot deep table, and even then it's quite a tight fit. You could argue that I can move the printer forward, but there's really not much space in front of it. And remember, this is supposed to go behind the printer, right over here. And as you can see, I can't even get it on. So that's the first problem. It's really just hard to get to. And then you might be wondering, why don't I just put it on the table and then route the filament up and into the printer? But the problem is, the filament path inside the spool holder is also not the most ideal. Oftentimes, the filament has a really hard time getting to the exit port right over here, especially when you're using carbon fiber or fiberglass filaments. And even if I was able to route the filament through this little holder here, it still needs to go to this filament runout sensor, and the path it takes is quite severe. For PETG, PLA, and ABS, I think it can do it, but again, if you introduce any fibers like carbon fiber or glass fiber, it is a nightmare. And then from the filament runout sensor, it needs to snake its way into this little hole right over here. From where the filament enters from the back, it's then guided on this little chain thing over here. And let me show you why the stock system kind of sucked. So I've mocked up how the stock configuration is, where it has this tube where the filament is guided in, and then it has these clips that sit on top of this chain guide thing. And basically, let me show you why it was an issue for me. I was alarmed to hear some collision noises from the unit, and found out it was coming from a clip colliding with the body of the printer. Shaving off about 5mm from the bottom of the plastic panel should give enough clearance to prevent this. The print still came out well, but poses a failure point, and it's clearly an oversight by Qidi Tech. It might be hard to see on camera, but there's actually like wear marks on where it used to hit, as you can see right over here. And I really didn't like it, so whenever it was printing, you would just hear it smacking this corner all the time, and it was not a good feeling. So another Qidi Tech X Max 3 owner gave a really cool suggestion. They suggested that I reroute the tubing, take off these clips. Now bear in mind, these were actually super glued in, so it was not the easiest to take out. I took out a clip here, and then I took out another clip over here, and then I replaced it with zip ties like so. Using the zip ties, I was able to have a lower profile installation. So you'll notice that now the cable or the tube is running along the side of this chain instead of on top. And it definitely gave more clearance, and it avoided hitting this little edge over here. I've always wanted to revisit this and ditch the zip ties and instead 3D print my own clip, so that instead of putting the routing to the top, I wanted it to the side over here. And that's what I'm hoping to do today. Normally I would just measure the part that I'm kind of re-engineering. However, I did deform these clips trying to remove them, so I'll have to go ahead and measure the chain itself. I won't be needing these zip ties anymore, so they can go. It'll be easier to measure these chain guides without them on there. And now I'll begin measuring the chain guide. I'll have to do it off camera since I'll need both hands. So now I have a cross section of the chain along with the tube where the filament goes, so I can base my drawing based on this. It's a little funky, but this is the drawing I have for the new clip. And with that, we have the new clip. Time to send it off to the printer. We've got the new prints all ready to go. I'm just waiting for the bed to heat up. I've got the bed heated up to 80 degrees, so we should be good to go. Here's the file loaded up, and it's time to just hit print for this 4-minute print. The prints are all done. It only took 3 minutes. We've got the usual PETG stringing, but I don't think I even need to clean it up, to be honest. But maybe I will. Just taking my side cutters and giving them a quick snip. Should be good. Now it's time to do a little test fit. They are a little loose, but maybe it's okay. Or maybe I should just reprint them. I've reprinted it with slightly tighter tolerances, and let's see how this feels. Okay, so I've got it on. The tolerances are definitely better. I still will need some glue to keep it on. Otherwise though, it looks like it's looking pretty good. And just to check, the tube fits in there just fine. So once again, I'm using this Craft Prots 3D printing super glue just to glue it in place. And just doing a little flex test. Off camera, I've installed the other clip and glued it in place as well. And we've got full range of motion, so let's see how well it routes. With the clips on and them being routed on the side, it does look a lot cleaner. It does look less janky than the zip ties, even though the zip ties will work just fine. And it seems to be clearing that area just as well. I've been putting off that mod off for too long, and I'm glad to have it out of the way. I'll be sharing the files in the link down below, and if you're wondering if I'm going to stop using this little spool doohickey here, the answer is no. Even with the better routing using those clips, I still believe that filament using glass fiber or carbon fiber is still going to be too brittle and stiff to go through the actual routing of the stock configuration. And so for carbon fiber and fiberglass filaments, I'll still be using the little doohickey spool thing I have on this monitor. But if I am using filaments that require a heated chamber and the lid closed, then I will try out that new routing, or I guess the old routing. Either way, if you're watching this and you own an X-Max 3, let me know if this is something you would print out for your printer. I appreciate you watching the vlog, and stay tuned for more.